because when I grew up in my film school days, and it was like the height of the '70s, right? So that's when it's all happening. You got Coppola, Scorsese, De Palma, Sidney Pollack, all these guys, Jonathan Demme, all working at the top of their game. And we were all, as students, so inspired.
Hmm.
So I was bringing that love of that kind of movies into what was, a B movie programmer is what they call it. But I think it elevated the material, and that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to not do it became a bone-breaking Steven Seagal movie. I mean, that's all in there,
Hmm.
but it's also about the government and drugs and corruption and vengeance. And we were very lucky because we had an amazing bad guy.
Hmm.
The movie, it's Screwface, the,
Yeah.
Jama- the Jamaican bad guy.
Yeah, he's definitely crazy in it. Um, Let me ask you this then, because that seems to be a reoccurring theme with your projects, like in fighting for injustice. Is that something close and dear to you in some way? Because I've noticed in like Tekken and you know, Murder at 1600, all they all have that
It's in
similar.
Rapid Fire. It's in Rapid Fire too.
Yeah, Rapid Fire too. Yeah, it was.
So I always try and find the scene um, of what the movie's about. Like what's the scene that really defines the movie? And in Rapid Fire, there's a scene where Powers Booth basically schools the kid Brandon Lee
Mhm.
about what to expect from life, and there's this father son thing, and it's not like this it wasn't as scripted, but I talked to Powers and I talked to Brandon and I said we really need to get into who you guys are to each other, and they didn't improv, they improved it, but then we wrote it down. In other words,
Gotcha.
we improv the scene, then we wrote down the dialogue. I sent the dialogue to the producers and said, I'd rather shoot this.
Mhm.
Can you give me permission to not do these pages, but to shoot this instead? Because you can't just go rogue. You can't just do whatever you want. There's
Yeah.
millions of dollars at stake. So we got approval. And the scene's interesting because Power says, sooner or later in life, kid, you got to stand up for something. You got to be for something, because he was just angry, right? Brandon Lee's the young Jake Lowe was just anger. Right? I'm mad at the world. I'm mad at the world because of what happened to my father. I'm bitter. I'm all rage. And so Powers Booth is like, well, that's fine, but it's easy to be against things, but you're gonna have to be for something eventually. Anyway, it's an interesting sidebar to what you were saying. That I try and find out, even in an action movie, like what is it about, and then it's easier for me to direct it.
Still rolling. I'm reading the book actually right now. Really good. A lot of great stories. I'm not done yet, but if you're a filmmaker or just somebody that likes good stories, you're gonna enjoy this book. Link is in description. Like, subscribe, drop a comment down below.